Unfortunately, even though Quid is a really good Silas, Faker also has like a prestige MVP Silas.
It's got like 4 Silas skins from Worlds.
It's actually, I use that. That's what I use when I play Silas.
Yeah, that one's sick.
Is his Silas skin. So, yeah, good luck there. The other matchup is. Hello and welcome back to The Dive, driven by Kia, Season 10, Episode 21, MSI Preparation Episode. Also, congratulations to T1. Their skins came out, and they look really, really good.
The recalls are insane.
I feel like everything about, there's so many little details in a lot of them. Some definitely a little bit better than others, but I think overall, the quality of this release is just really, really good. This might be the best like world skins release. I haven't gone down my list and looked at each individual set, but I feel like these ones are really good. T1 does have really good colors also that I just like, you know, red, black, and gold.
And they all have 17 worlds trophies, so you can add some details here and there. You know?
There's so many good ones though.
The Doran recall I think is my favorite.
Because the Krug Lord.
Yeah,
and the Doran items?
Well, and all the Doran items. He like throws in the Doran shield, the Doran's Doran's blade, the Doran's ring, and then it opens up. There's like the Krug, and he walks through on the stage. It's all sparkling. It's like
there's also a little.
Damn, that is sick.
I'm pretty sure there's a little like like do not go sign or whatever, like a circle with a thing crossed out, because like people doubted him winning worlds, and then he's still over the worlds trophy, and then he still gets it. I like how there's also like multiple worlds trophies for everyone. Counting theirs, 3 for owner and carrier and all them.
And a lot of the animations too, they have really cool touches. The MFE, which is the MVP skin, I think, for Guma, or maybe the NR one is.
That's why it's the super expensive one, the MF one.
I haven't looked at the prices or anything. I just literally just watched the video. But I think it's pretty cool when he E's. You can like hear the crowd cheering, and there's like a kind of like a see-through trophy over the E and stuff. They have lots of those touches. I know Galio, I think it's when he's taunting, or maybe it's when he's channeling. I can't remember which, but he does the like faker, like the and stuff, and it's like, damn, like they actually
that is it. That goes hard
stuff. Yeah, they go really hard, and I mean, just visually, they also just look really, really nice. It's pretty cool. I was seeing some tweets about T1 players getting to have like little requests about things that they would want in it, or how they would want to look, and things like that too, which I always think that's cool. If you're gonna make a skin for a player, allowing them to have as much input is reasonable, like makes a lot of sense, right? Because then it actually feels like it's theirs. Yeah,
especially when it's players like these players that have so much history and have so many like iconic things that you can put in. Carrier we can try and go remember as many things as possible. I know Carrier, he was talking really early about how he likes K-pop idols and wanted his Seraphine one to like fully embrace that. And so I thought they did a pretty good job with that one. It definitely wasn't my favorite though. I couldn't decide if the Ambessa or the Zin were my favorite. I like both of those so much because Owner has so much swag. He's got not only his cape that he always wears it on his shoulders in the walk-ins, and like Zin is kind of wearing it like him, but he also has like his big ass chain, his the tiger thing.
Swagged out,
dude. That chain is always so impressive, so big. But he has that too, and then he has like all the 3 different like iconic champions from with his 3 trophies. Like the Zin does a Lee Sin kick, and then a Poppy maneuver, and there's I think the other one was Pantheon.
Oh, I didn't catch that. That's cool.
He has literally Zin is like doing the other moves of these other champions and stuff. I don't know.
That's sick.
I like that.
Cool things.
I would say my 2 favorites had to be either like the Doran one, just the recall got me. Like I just think that recall is so cool, and then the Faker one, I like just the animations and stuff. And I mean, I don't know, just the Faker has aura, man. It's just like I do think the like silence thing is really cool.
And you mentioned the crowd noise on Gumas. They also do it for Faker's ult, the Galio ult.
Yeah.
Incorporating crowd noise, I think, is it makes you feel like this is an esports skin, you know, because that's the kind of iconic thing. And everyone's like, I actually got that feeling.
Yeah. Oh, wait. I didn't know about the crowd noise part. That is hype. Does the opponents hear it too? Like,
I don't know. That would be so.
If it's just an ability sound effect, probably.
I assume so.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That makes me want to have the skins. I want them cheering for me when I'm playing. I love the skins. I mean, Ambessa and Xin Zhao for me are the 2 that really stood out, because I mean, Ambessa, her skin is cool, but like she only has 1. So another one is super nice. Just the what do you call them? Like her weapons with the red tint on the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It just looks so nice. And I think for Xin Zhao, he has so many skins, but I don't know about you or other Xin Zhao players, but like there's none of them that really sort of speak to me. You know what I mean? Like sometimes a champion will have a skin. I'm just like, yeah, this skin is like so sick. It's the only one I want to use. But for Xin Zhao, like, he's got some nice skins, but none of them really, stick.
I agree. That's a really good point. Because like this is, like you said, Mbessa's second, and I think it's only Yunara's second too, because she only has the release one. But for Xin, I just try and like pick a super like uncommon chroma. And
yeah.
I think I use like the old Dragon Slayer one with like the black chroma or something.
Yeah, I mean he does have some good skins, like Dragon Slayer, Warring Kingdoms, Marauder, the Cosmic one. They're all cool, right? But none of them stand out as like, damn, this is like the only one I want to use.
True.
But the T1 might be that. Yeah. I like his new one from the event too, the Trials of Twilight one. That goes hard.
I will say I feel like some champions just lend themselves better to skins than others, right? Like some champions, I think it's like easier to see detail on the champion. It's like they're more visually distinct. I think because Xin like always has armor, always has those details, always has a spear. I feel like they look more samey. And I think maybe it's just like an art thing, I don't know.
This one's sick though.
Yeah.
Like the white flowing hair, that's super cool.
And like I always also like skins that look more different than the regular champion. Just maybe it'll like confuse my opponents for even a half of a second, right? If they think I'm Talon because I have a little cape or something, even for like half a second.
Yeah, that's why you got to play with that option to have the champion names over players' heads, because the default is the players' names. Yeah. But I remember one time I took a long break from League and I came back and I was just getting stun locked in team fights where, if there was a bunch of champs standing on top of each other with similar or like unfamiliar skins to me, I was just like, what am I fighting against?
I think a lot of the newer skins over the last, I don't know, however many years have become like less visually similar to their base champion compared to in the past. Because I remember when I was on playtest years ago, like that was a big thing that they would always have as test for skins, is like that you had to immediately be able to identify the silhouette and everything for the champion. And I don't know if that has changed or not, but it has felt to me like over the last years they've been going more wild with skins, which just lends itself to being less sure what you're seeing. Like the Spaghetti Vel'Koz one is like pretty wild, right?
You might think that's somebody other than Vel'Koz.
I'm glad they let that one through though, because that one is
the
goated.
Sickest skin.
But just like they're going more wild with skins, which I just mean lends itself to like it being harder to tell what
sometimes. But I mean, I like a lot of the stuff they've been doing.
Me too. It's fun.
These skins, I mean, they're the best T1 skins yet, in my opinion. And there's a lot. I think it's T1 World Skin's like the biggest skin line out of any of them now. I think it might have been before as well, but I remember there was someone counted up, like all the different skin lines, and T1 just had so many. They just keep winning.
You know what's insane is Faker has 10 skins now.
He's got more than a decent number of champions.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild. Like 10 skins,
and he still won't pick one. And he's still like,
right? It's just like, please.
How many do you need, man?
Maybe when he gets his 100th, he'll start playing them. But speaking of T1, the back-to-back-to-back world champions, it's going to be pretty easy to get through play-ins because you only have to be T1 to do it.
It's going to be easy for T1 to get through play-ins?
No, I was just being facetious. It's going to be you have to beat the 3-time defending world champions to get out of play-ins.
Right.
There's only one spot.
Because I was like, you know what? I think you're right. It might be easy for T1 to get out of play-ins.
Yes,
because they are T1.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. MSI Play-Ins is kicking off on June 28th. Kobe and I are actually flying out today.
I'm flying tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm flying today.
Yeah.
And so, we're going to be heading out after this, or I'm going to be heading out after this. But play-ins kicking off for MSI, and it is kind of a crazy format because there's 4 teams in there. It is LCK2, EU2, NA2, and then PCS2 or LCP, I guess. I always confuse that. PCS2. So those are all the teams in there, but that does mean that LCK has number 2 seed, which is T1, and only one team gets out of play-ins. So it is a brutal format. It's a double elimination, best of 5 bracket. TL is going to be starting playing T1, but regardless, if you want to get out, you're going to have to beat T1, whether you play them first, last, whatever. And that is going to be a crazy challenge, I feel like, because T1 is just such a beast, especially internationally.
Yeah, and I feel like T1's probably even happy about this because even though they do win worlds all the time, they never do it in a super dominant fashion. They always put on a show. And so I feel like they ramp up during tournaments, right? So for them being able to start in play-ins and ramp up is probably actually going to do them, more of a favor than starting in the upper bracket, like starting in the stage. So,
yeah,
I mean, I don't know. I feel bad for the teams in play-ins because, like you're saying, T1 a bit of high mountain to overcome.
But teams are always talking about, it's hard to get scrims with the best teams. So here you go. You get to be the on stage, partners for T1. And since we are we are all full best of fives, like you get a good decent amount. Of
at least 3 games against T1.
So yeah, we should just start with T1. We'll do all the play-ins teams first.
Yep.
But T1, they're coming in pretty hot, honestly, off of beating Gen G. I was a little worried watching their series versus HLE because especially Owner. Was doing some invades versus Kanavi, and he was definitely. Maybe that's one of the worst Owner series I've seen.
He got super gapped.
I've seen in a long time, and it's definitely the worst one from him I've seen in a long time. And but he bounced right back versus Gen G. I thought he looked great versus Gen G, and the entire team being able to pull that off is huge. It's crazy not having Gen G here. The defending MSI champions back to back at that too. So pretty sick to have T1 here. Speaking of Gen G and MSI champions, they have PES now. If you have not been following, LCK, and PES is what they play around too. And he is the most recent MSI winner on this team because he did win with Gen G, and he had that like 27 or 28 kill Kalista game that he did it on. And it's actually pretty scary too because he has been pulling out Kalista, did it versus Gen G. He did that like static shiv Kalista game. And they've been really one of the most like bottom focused teams and playing a lot around, they're the bottom side of the map. So T1 definitely looking quite terrifying here for all of the play-in teams.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, LCK was really, really competitive. Like, I actually really loved watching this split because it's like T1 went 1-1 against Gen G went 1-1 against T1, KT, HLE, and DK. And it was like all these teams at the top were all just like taking series off each other, taking games off each other, which made it really, really exciting because it has felt for so long that Gen G is just running things in the LCK, even if they're not always getting the results internationally that they want. They're always winning in the LCK. And I know a lot of people were kind of saying that like HLE's win was fraudulent and the format was fraudulent and all this sort of stuff, but like the format's really not that different than old LCK format where the top seed only had to win one series, right? And it was the gauntlet up. So it's basically just that is the Road to MSI format that they had, where they had T1 versus HLE. That was the first place qualification match. Then T1 lost, they dropped down, they played Gen G, and that was the second qualification match. There was no like finals again between T1 after they dropped down or anything. It was just kind of worked like that. So it's basically the old style. But T1, has been really competitive against those top teams. And yeah, I can't say enough about PES and Keria. Like obviously Keria has been super hyped. PES, there is a lot of people who are really excited for him and a lot of people who were really unhappy that they were getting him because of course that means, Guma's not on the team anymore. And that's such a beloved T1 roster that people didn't really want to see any part of that breakup, right? Like people were sad when Zeus left, people were sad when Guma left. But I think PES and Keria are the best bot lane duo in the world. I think maybe by even a significant margin. Like they are so dominant in their best games. They push leads like nothing else. Like it is just insane. I think it was a series I was watching against Gen G where they were playing like the Camille Mel bot lane, and they are just like. They have Ruler at like 14 CS at like 5 or 6 minutes. Like he is just can't even walk to his tower. Like you get ahead and they're just playing like crazy aggressive between towers, nonstop attacking. And it is really, really fun to see them play through this bot lane and see how explosive Keria can be. Because in a season that to me has been defined by, range picks and this like defensive play and stuff, Keria is finding these like crazy engages. Even on Lulu, I can remember a game where he's like flash double wild growthing on 2 carries after he got charmed, I think, and then into a polymorph and they just like 100-0 a guy and like, finding these insane engages from behind on Rakan and Nico and everything. So it's just been been fun to watch him, and I feel like he's in the best form probably he's ever been in.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Lulu thing too, because you're like, oh yeah, all these crazy engages and playing like Camille support and stuff too.
Yeah.
But the Lulu one was crazy because he had like multiple engages, flash polymorph, then he had the flash on self Lulu ult too, like putting his body on the line. He's still always amazing to watch. I mean, he's been the best supporter in the world for I feel like quite a long time now. And T1 definitely showing it. I like too, looking at some of their solo queues, because I like that there is downtime in multiple patches between when a lot of these leagues are playing until we get Worlds. And I always love like, ooh, what are they going to cook up next? And Carrie has been practicing Jax support.
Jax support.
Because they started this meta of the Camille support when the good supports are playing Camille support. Like On had a really good Camille support game in LPL also. Carrie obviously a bunch of supports are playing the Camille support, make it look OP. And so if they take the Camille support and you try and play, I assume that the Jax is a counter to that, because going off auto attack, dodging, and try to do something there.
That's a crazy matchup. I'm learning Jax support to counter Camille support.
Maybe, or maybe
that sounds sick.
Testing it. Yeah.
That sounds sick, but I mean that just
I feel like
so Fiesta-y.
Yeah, I feel like Carrie is always just such a troll almost with his solo queue support picks though. Like, well, and even in pro play, I remember him bringing out the Twitch support, and he was hyper in the range support meta. So this guy's down to cook for sure. And whether or not we see it on stage, who knows? But it is fun to see him work, because he's one of those players, one of the only players in the world where whatever he picks, you're like, he could probably make it work.
And that's how you get the ones that do work on stage.
You gotta try.
You have to try them all. He did have an opportunity to do it, I remember, and he went with the Shen in that game, who also has obviously the auto attack dodge zone. But I was hoping to see the extra spice, but obviously, T1 are going to be super favorite here. Their solo lanes, of course, are not as intimidating as like BLG and HLE solo lanes. Yeah. But still extremely good, especially for playing stage for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think Faker. It's not really been about his laning for a long time. Like obviously he can dominate a lane, he can take over a game, but it's more about like what he does outside of the lane that really makes him who he is. I do think that a number of series that I was watching in the LCK, he had these series where he's like makes a mistake in lane or someone out trades him, and then he's really on the back foot for quite a while. But he still usually has good impact in those games. He has some crazy stats though. Like he was up there with some of the top solo kills and stuff, but then his solo deaths was second in the entire league. I think the only person that had more was Rich.
And isolated deaths.
ISO deaths. And it was so funny looking at like on the road to MSI. Obviously, not everyone has the same amount of games played, but like he has 9 games played. Chovy has 8. BDD has 8. Showmaker has 8, and Faker had 36 deaths. The next highest out of that was 19, then 17, and 15. Right? Like he's dying a lot.
He had 36 isolated deaths and 9.
No, just total deaths. Total deaths. And but like he has a lot of ISO deaths. And I do think T1 have struggled more than in the past to be like, because it used to be the thing of like the Faker global taunt, and then they're always getting stuff on the other side of the map. I feel like they have been struggling to do that a bit more at times, but you have to obviously give the caveat that it's like versus Gen G versus an HLE versus these teams that are insanely good. So I think they're massively favored, in play-ins. I still think Owner is ridiculously good. He did have that bad series you're talking about, but like overall he's really good. I feel like Doran is stable, and the like Doran choker stuff is like completely old news, and people need to move on. Not that he never makes mistakes, but I feel like Doran has been really solid for them, and generally he's playing weak side. They're always kind of playing towards their bot lane.
I do feel like, so even because people are always like looking at Faker's lane phase and taking away a little bit, I thought that he's actually been a bit I guess kind of like cut the difference between like peak and some of the like troughs that we've seen from him. I thought it was like actually pretty decent, but Doran I thought like dropped a little bit as far as his lane phase. He's another player though that always has these crazy team fights and still always has impact. So like you're saying, a bunch of the times he is weak side. Sometimes he does make a couple like unforced lane phase errors. But then he is still always, I feel like you're like, what is Dorian going to do? You know, it's not quite the same as like, what is Faker going to do in this game? But it's kind of similar where, Dorian also like not the strongest lane phase, but also still always, I feel like going to have a really big impact in those team fights. And that has been, critical as well for this squad. Also, another thing that he does, I feel like he intentionally overstays on some of these timers. We have like people will have the choice, and sometimes you'll see a top laner teleport straight back like into their lane that has 4 people that are going to dive it just to get the shield and just to be able to like, oh, I'm going to clear the minion wave and I'm going to like Scion ult out past and like make them overstay and spend a bunch of time and stuff. So I feel like T1 are definitely, I mean, they're definitely one of these teams that embraces the like good death style of like sinking. Someone is going to stay on a side lane and still trying to do kind of what you're saying, where you get more on the other side. It's not always that scenario, but sometimes.
I mean, Dorian's laning is not what he's famous for, but again, it's like I always have to give that caveat of it's like the people that mostly you're criticizing his laning against are like Keen and Zeus. And it's like, okay, the literal best top laners in the world, right? There's not a lot of people of that caliber that he's going to have to be going against. So I don't expect, his laning to be a significant issue, like maybe against like a Bin or a Zeus, right? But like that's about it. And the thing I really like about T1, I mean, this is just kind of like a general LCK point, but a lot of people felt like after first stand, LCK both teams lose to G2. LPL wins the tournament. They're playing like a faster style. And a lot of people felt like the LCK teams went back and they're like, okay, we need to change our style. We're playing too slow. We need to play faster. We need to play more aggressive. And I do feel like that resulted in a lot more games that look a lot more sloppy, right? Where there are mistakes, there are mechanical missteps from the very top teams, more like throws and things like that than you would normally see, which is kind of interesting because I feel like they are kind of embracing that more chaotic style. And the reality is no matter how good you are, when you're playing super, super fast, like T1 at their best is just trying to make play after play after play. And I think they're super hard to keep up with as a result. But when you do that, you are going to have more missteps and more mistakes, right? And so it was interesting watching LCK because I feel like, people think of them, and it's not true of every team, but people think of them as like the macro gods, the slow, conservative, build the gold lead, play the map. And I feel like LCK looks more like LPL than it had in the past, for sure.
Well, especially the 2 reps that they ended up sending. Because when we get to HLE, like they're even faster, I feel like, than T1 are because Kanavi, they're all on board with the Kanavi style. And Kanavi definitely still has that LPL in them. So, we'll get to that one. But I definitely agree, especially with the 2 reps that they're sending. It's like we don't have the, slow teams that are, coming, especially both LPL teams as well as LCK teams here looking very spicy.
Yeah. So T1 is going to be playing TL for the first match. I mean, the glass half full is that you get a chance to take down the 3-time defending world champs, right?
At the very beginning, before they practice.
That's true.
And you could try to surprise them. Maybe sometimes the Korean teams will come in. It can happen to anyone, and it doesn't have the right read on the meta. If you can get ahead of the meta, if you can have a better read, get really good drafts. You never know. Obviously, I don't think TL is in peak form or anything, but TL when they were kind of like our best team prior to the little FlyQuest era. They did have some competitive series against T1. They went 1-3, I think it was at MSI, and then 1-2 at EWC, and they had real chances in those series to actually win the series, win more games, make it that big upset. And Spawn has talked about how like that is like such a goal of his to be able to take down T1. It's like they are the kings of league, right? So it is a cool opportunity for them, but obviously it is very, very uphill battle. I think especially with how TL's bot lane has been playing, I just feel like LYON has been playing down this year so much compared to last year. And I feel like if you are not playing at your very peak, playing against Pays and Keria is just going to be like absurdly hard.
Yeah, that does not sound like a chill matchup for really anybody. And especially going from, playing in NA where TL just sort of had a hard loss against LYON, and now you got to go up against, like you were saying, probably best bot lane in the world. So that'll certainly be a good challenge for them. Not expecting TL to win that one, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't think it's a good time for TL's chances versus T1.
Yeah.
I actually felt a lot more confident in the previous one that you're kind of talking about. Because right now T1 their form looks quite good right now. And TL, I feel like they have been still streaky, and I'm just not super confident in the reliability of performances of the individual players, because going into playoffs, I was getting excited because it looked like maybe we were going to start to have more consistent performances from like Quid. He was returning to his kind of 100 Thieves, MVP style Quid performances, but then they still really reverted versus LYON in the finals. I mean, Quid did play 3 control mages. I think it was Oriana, Cassio, and Victor in the 3 games. But
if you can pin him in draft like that, then
and he had also had like a really good Victor game previously, just in playoffs too. So it's not like you can just pin it on champions or anything like that. And so this TL team, they have still not proven the consistency to me. We did see some peaks from them in our playoffs, which does give some hope. Jose is playing really well individually. Quid had some, return of like, okay, he still has the peak Quid in him.
And they need that.
I'm hoping that they can get all the pieces together at the same time, because they will need all pieces together. The caveats that you were saying when we're talking about T1 solo lanes are very important because it's like, they're maybe versus
Jovi
literal,
and Keen and Zayas
literal number 1
Zeka.
laners in the world.
But you better be playing like that if you want to give them trouble.
Exactly. So we're gonna need literally everybody playing at peak performance here to be able to get into a state that it will be favorable for TL, because T1 they can push the pace on you so quickly, and even if you are able to get the early leads, they had so many comeback wins.
Their team fights are insane.
This year they had so many comeback games where they give up first couple of dragons, they're down a couple thousand gold, and then third dragon fight, boom, they blast you. They get like 5 kills. They get the dragon 2, and you're like, well, okay, never mind. Actually, I guess T1 is winning this game, even though whatever team was already had an early advantage. So they've had a good amount of those too. So even if you feel like you have to get ahead early, but then even if you get ahead early, you're still nervous all the way until you can kill the Nexus.
I remember hearing, I kind of liked how this is explained. I don't want to say exactly what the player was, but a coach was talking to me about like comparing players in team fighting. And he was just saying how like against it's like, well, people are always like, oh, well, how did you lose? You're up 5K, right? And they're like, this is the thing you have to understand after you watch a million scrims against like the Chovy and the whatever. Chovy's like team fighting level, like his prowess, essentially starts him at like a 2 or a 3,000 gold lead. You know what I mean? Like he is putting out that much more damage than your player. He is like finding that much better of a play. Like if it's the literal best team fighting player in the world. And so when your player has a 2,000 gold lead, they are sometimes just like, that is just putting you at equilibrium with their opponent. Like, and that is how the coach kind of explained it to me. And I was like, I can kind of see that, where it's just like, if someone is performing that much better than you in a team fight, they're finding that many more angles. It's like getting that lead.
They have an extra component in their inventory.
They just spawns in with a large rod, right? Like, and it's just one of those things where it's like, it's kind of true, where it just feels like they do more damage, they position better, they make less mistakes. And T1 is definitely that. I mean, Pays, I think, is so insane mechanically. His team fighting is ridiculous. Carrier finds such explosive engages, and we know like the clutch factor of Faker. Owner is incredible, and Doran is a great team fighter. So it's going to be hard. I feel like if TL were to win, it would be Quid going like peak Quid and getting lane advantages, and like maybe you can kind of create some edge there. And I feel like you need to have Jose on absolute comfort, like running around, snowballing games like we've seen him do. Of course, it is an absolute long shot, but I feel like you need to be able to put Faker and Owner on the back foot to be able to try to like move around the map and create advantages, right? I think if you can't win through mid lane, I feel like they're not going to have much of a chance. I just can't see them really being able to keep up with T1's pace and their map play if you can't actually control mid jungle.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. Maybe on their best day, if T1's having a really bad day, they could do it. But I do think the champion pool issue that you guys sort of touched on is big in my eyes, because I think that Jose, when he's on the like really meta bruisers, looks pretty good, like Lee Sin, Pantheon, Vi, that sort of stuff. But when he doesn't have those champions, he has not looked quite as scary. In his game versus LYON, they were taking him off comfort quite a bit, and he just wasn't able to get as much done. And I think Quid is similar, where on his melee assassins, he can be really, really good. And so I think there's a chance, maybe if TL has some good drafts. Silas got buffed a lot for MSI. I think that's a champion that Quid usually does pretty well on, like Silas, Akali, Yone. They're all looking really strong. So I think if they can get the champions they want, and maybe T1 is like jet lagged, even though I think it's in Korea, so it's not that likely.
I thought you did that on purpose.
It's not that likely, but you never know.
No jet lagged on the train from Seoul.
I don't think it's impossible.
It's train lag. It's train
I don't
lag,
think it's impossible.
Somebody just has to tell T1 that the tournament is actually in Australia or like
Brazil or somewhere.
Brazil or something. So they fly there.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, dang, we gotta fly back. And then we can get them jet lagged.
There you go. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I think if they get their best champions, it's not unwinnable or anything like that. But if they're forced off of their comfort picks and they're on some champions that they haven't made work, then I don't like their chances, because even in the C9 game where TL won, I felt like they were not being the most proactive that we've seen. A lot of their games started super slow, and then they were able to beat C9 because C9 sort of like fumbled over themselves, and against LYON, LYON didn't. And I think T1 is obviously quite a bit better than any of those teams that are playing, and they're also really, really aggressive. So TL's going to be able to have to deal with that, which, nothing in NA prepares you for that. I can say that much.
Yeah. Yep. Also, unfortunately, even though Quid is a really good Silas, Faker also has like a prestige MVP Silas.
He's got like 4 Silas skins from Worlds.
It's actually, I use that. That's what I use when I play Silas.
That one's sick.
Is his Silas skin. So, good luck there. The other matchup is KC versus.
Good way to sum it up.
Deep Cross Gaming.
Man.
Well, okay. So the last thing I'll say on that matchup.
Good luck there.
I like watching those matchups more than one where it's like, oh, it's pretty close and like we should win, because I'm always nervous that we're going to screw up. Whereas if you do well versus T1, then it's an upside, but you're kind of expected to lose, and so I'm like, it doesn't hurt as bad. You get a little bit hopeful, and like if they can accomplish it, of course. You revise that, and then if you get mega stomped and you look lifeless,
that's what I was gonna say.
Then it's.
I always tell myself that I'm like. It's okay. It's T1. It's Gen G. No problem. If we lose, no big deal. I won't be disappointed. And then it's like you get the tiniest glimmer of hope. You're like, they made a gank work. Like, we can do it. And then you lose the next fight instantly. And I'm just as depressed as if we lost against anyone else.
That's how they get you. They start winning the first game. Everything's going right. They give you hope into massive throw into 2 back-to-back stomps. And you're just like, well, I just got whiplash from that.
Yeah, where there is delusion, there is hope. The other matchup, though, like you were saying, Carmine Core versus Revolve Deep Cross Gaming. I do think KC has been looking pretty good. They picked up a star North American player to carry the rest of the bums to some international events. So, Busia is playing really well. I think KC is actually really strong. They've gone 5 against Gen G a couple times this year. They're actually starting to push them and get a bit more competitive. I do feel like Kana is really good. I feel like Yike, if you haven't been watching Yike since the past, like if you haven't been watching him, I feel like he has actually stepped up and gotten really, really way better. Yehu to me is like, he's okay. I feel like he's improved a bit, but I still feel like he's kind of the weak point on the team. And I know I may get some blame for this, but I feel like Kalista is definitely getting too much hype. I think that Carmine Core is good. I think that they're better than TL, and they should be expected to beat TL. They should be expected to beat everyone except T1 in this group. But that being said, I feel like I'm seeing people get out of control with these Callis takes of like top 5 ADC in the world. No, he's actually number 1 in the world on this champ and that champ. And I'm just like, we are getting out of control. I think he's the 4th best player on their team. I think he is a very good player. I think they're a very good team, but I think that it is getting like too out of control, some of the overhype. He's a young player. He could absolutely grow into that kind of player that people are talking about. But I feel like he makes quite a few significant mistakes where he gets caught quite a lot. I think he can get punished. And as an AD carry, it's like, yeah, you want to play on that edge. But if you are stepping too far forward, and if you are getting picked off, and if you are falling way behind in lane because you're going for too much and things like that, I just feel like that is so punishing compared to some other roles. If you die early in a team fight or before a team fight, or you lose your summoners because you're walking, lazily through the jungle or whatever, it's like that is just game losing a lot of times for an AD carry. And I still feel like I see, more of those kind of mistakes than I do from the other players of that caliber. If we're genuinely talking about top 5 in the world type players, I just can't see it.
Mm-hmm. Their team fighting, I think, is probably the scariest thing about this team, because kind of like we were talking about earlier, but this team also have had a lot of games where they were down a decent amount and then they come back through a team fight a lot of times around Dragon. But I think that this is probably not the match for a lot of like the flaws of this team to get exposed.
Yeah.
Deep Cross, well, actually maybe, because Deep Cross, they're so, especially their jungle, their AD, I feel like are really coin flippy, and they're trying to skill check you every single 2 seconds, and they're super aggressive, which was really cool to watch when they plays worked. And it's like we had a crazy insect, a nice Lee Sin game especially. But a lot of this team, holy moly, I felt like they were just always, game plan is we show up and we fight. Let's fight these guys. And they were so aggressive in a lot of their games. I feel like their top laner is for sure their best player. And it's cool. He's a rookie too. Florin, he looked really good. And talking to some of the LCP representatives, they're talking about how he's also improved his lane phase up to, I was most impressed with his team fighting, but his lane phase been improved too. So he's just a really good all-around player at such a young age, still being a rookie here. They were even concerned. They were like, yeah, I feel like he is already a target for LPL teams to steal away from us. They're definitely worried about LPL teams always taking their best players, but this team is so aggressive. So maybe in this series I could see some games where Deep Cross gets some early leads, but KC have really shown that their team fighting is quite good, and so even in those cases, I think there is a decent chance where they could still be able to like team fight their way back into it.
Yeah,
but maybe Deep Cross can snowball and get some wins there. I would definitely favor KC for sure.
Yeah.
In the series overall because of that, but maybe there's a chance there.
I mean, they are a cool team, right? Like Florin, you said is rookie, but like they came up through the promotion tournament from LCP or rather from PCS to LCP, I guess, because they promoted up. They won that, and so they have like a lot of players who don't have like a tremendous amount of tier 1 kind of experience.
Except for Shousey.
Yeah, exactly. It's basically just Shousey and then a bunch of young guys, right? Yeah. And so it is cool to see them up there. I do think this team is like people always like say that like a brain all hands no brain type thing. I think this is that team. Like this is like they are not going to macro. Like they are just going to fight you, and they're going to fight you nonstop. And I think they have a lot of players that have really good mechanics. And sometimes they go in and you're like, what are you doing, brother? And then you see the angle, right? Because they're able to pull it off. Like Pop 9, I was talking to some people. I heard some of the like funniest slander names. Like people were calling him Top 9, like a top 9 jungler in the league and stuff. When he's like Pop 9 because he's popping off, and then Top 9 when he's trolling or whatever. But Pop 9 and Fang, like I feel like Fang is like the craziest coin flipper of all time. Like this guy makes some of the Jackie Love coin flip plays look like nothing. Like he's like on Zeri and he's like E-flash R-ing in the middle of the entire team, like, you know, just trying to like max DPS. He's seeing angles that nobody else is seeing. And sometimes he is able to pull it off and it looks really cool, but a lot of times it's like a monster in it. And so they are like good mechanically. I do think that against KC, obviously they're not going to be favored because KC has really strong individual players and I think is better at setting up the map and doing that. It's not as though like Deep Cross is going to do like nothing and they're just going to all ARAM and fight you, right? But like they're going to try to set up for objectives, but they're going to show up and fight pretty much, it feels like, no matter the game state, you know, no matter what else is going on.
And I feel like more often, like they're not going to do, oh, we'll trade you cross map. No. They'll try and actually make the play on the side of the map that you don't think they're going to try and make the play on because you have your advantage there, but they'll have like multiple people here when you're like, well, there shouldn't be multiple people from the enemy team here. Yep. And then they're like, 3 of them pop out of a brush and go super aggressive on you. So I think the series will be fun, but yeah, definitely expect the first round of play-ins to be T1 and KC getting dubs.
I mean, it's also just hard when, like, I agree that I think Florin is their best player and Florin is really talented. He can play a whole bunch of different stuff. Like, he can play some cool counter picks. I do think their players are quite flexible. Like, they have really deep champion pools, so maybe they can cook some stuff up. But it's also like, okay, your strongest player is playing against Kana, who's, I think, the best laning top laner and you know him. I guess it's him or Knock-Knocko, but I always feel like Kana is such an insane laner, and I think Kana's Casey's best player. So it's kind of like there's not like some weak person on the other side that he can maybe build a big advantage through. But yeah, it definitely feels like the only way for Deep Cross to win. And I feel like this is probably true against all the teams in this would be if they can kind of like drag you down in the chaos, you know, get some early leads and then really try to like snowball it. Which I think if KC is not just underestimating them and is actually prepping for them, they should just play a disciplined game, and I think they should be cruising through this for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, usually that style of, I mean, it's a cool story. The, you know, young team from the, you know, one of the smallest major leagues has this like really explosive style, but I feel like more often than not, it kind of like the lack of experience when you play against the actual best teams in the world kind of can expose it in a way, because even if you want to fight everything, teams, I think, generally get good enough at not taking losing fights, you know, so they'll just fight you when it's actually good to. And then if your whole game plan is just fight everything, then, you know, it doesn't really work if you're just opting into losing fights repeatedly. Yeah.
I mean, it's really cool, though, for these players, regardless. It's like to be, you know, from the promotion tournament, qualifying up and already going to an international here is really, really cool. Obviously, like, you know, CFO, they kind of blew up, so they're not just like running this league anymore, right? So there's more opportunity, I think, for different teams to come up. Obviously, Team Secret Wales like completely dominated, but Deep Cross came up too and is looking pretty good. So it should be fun. I want to touch a little bit more on Yike, though, because I just feel like Yike obviously got a lot of criticism at times, especially international, got replaced by Skewmond on G2, and Skewmond's looking incredible, so it's like not like you can really criticize that anymore. But Yike, I feel like, has gotten actually so much better, and especially when he's playing from a lead, I feel like he's so good at actually pushing the advantage, nonstop invading, playing in people's face, and I feel like that is one of the things where Busio and him have become such a strong pairing to me, because Busio, to me, at his best, was always someone who was so active on the map, right? And when I think about like Busio, the champions that fit him best, it is champions that move around the map or playing really aggressive. Like, obviously his Bard is iconic, but, you know, whether he's playing like Alistar or Nautilus, whatever, champions that can move around the map and really pressure, I feel like they are a pretty terrifying duo when they are playing well. And Busio, you know, I don't know if he's reached necessarily the same highs as when he was on FlyQuest just yet, but I feel like you see glimpses of that. And as they get more comfortable as a team, they're getting better and better for sure. And Yike has become, I feel like, a real threat. And to me, you know, he feels like he is up there on that level with Skewmond and inspired with his current play, which is, I think, really, really exciting for KC fans.
He's also super versatile. So if there is a shift in jungle meta where there's a lot of things open and, you know, obviously AD Bruisers have been dominating for a while, but lots of people have been prophesizing, okay, you know, there's a lot of room for these tank jungles because all the, you know, cheap support items are super effective, and a lot of the tanks are very viable.
Nerfs and stuff.
And Yike has always been really good with the tanks. I mean, he's been playing the Skarner already, but the Maokai was a classic for him as well. And then you know, a very versatile, so he can play pretty much all jungle styles, so that's also definitely a benefit.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen a whole lot of Europe this year just because it's really early and usually I'm working, unfortunately.
You've got the real job now.
It's tough to keep up on all the regions, but we've seen these guys a lot, and so I think it'll be cool to watch.
Yeah. I also always think it's interesting because if it does go back to tank meta, then I feel like AP junglers become a little bit better too. And it's like I always thought Yike had a good Lilia and
Leandry styles.
Exactly right. Then it's like can become sometimes the power farmers come back in. So I think KC are set up well. You know, that would set us up for, you know, assuming it is kind of the expected matchups, then it would be, you know, T1 versus KC, which obviously people are you know, pretty excited about. I think T1 to me is still very heavy favorites here. KC has shown that they can definitely do some damage. You know, when we saw them at first stand at the start of last year, obviously it's a different team. They were able to have a deep run there, which was pretty exciting for EU. But T1 I think is definitely going to be really big favorites against everyone in this group. So to me, I'm kind of hoping that it's like we do get that KC matchup. Like I would love to see more NA versus EU. That's always really fun. I do think KC would be favored based on current form for sure. But you know, I'm still kind of hoping for that. You know, if TL were able to get past Deep Cross and then they're able to play KC, that could be really exciting. And we have done well the last couple of MSIs. You know, in 2024, I guess it was, we were they beat Fnatic 3-1, and then last year obviously we 3-0'd G2, so we've been doing pretty well at MSIs. Obviously Europe got the best of us at first stand in Worlds, but looking for the bounce back, and Spawn has said he's never lost to Europe, so I like that.
I do like that.
I like that stat.
Yeah, I always do want to see a matchup versus them because it's just more, you know, you're more invested. NA versus EU. But this would be one of the ones that I'm definitely more nervous about than I have been of any of our NA EU matchups in the past.
Yeah, less confident.
Yeah, very much so.
Me
less
too.
Confident. So, but I still want to see it, you know.
And if TL are playing to their peak, it's like we're saying if TL are playing to their peak, they might have a shot against T1. But if TL are playing to their peak, they could beat KC for sure. Like it's not like these teams are leagues apart by any means. I just think KC's current form is definitely better.
True. TL have been just dragging this entire year, all in preparation.
Saving their energy for the final sprint at the middle of the year.
It's so they can, as a team, get full revenge on Busio for leaving North America.
Exactly. That is the real goal. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to make you pay, Busio, but please come back to us.
Yeah, please, quickly.
All right, we are going to head to a quick break, and then we're going to talk about some of the main stage teams that will be awaiting whoever wins in play-ins.
Dude, this lobby is kind of comfy. It feels different.
If this is different, I like different. I'm staying right here.
Are you guys serious? We're about to get into game.
Emily, let us enjoy it!
You guys need to lock in. Maybe this'll help.
Oh no, not already.
Welcome back to The Dive, driven by Kia. It's time to talk about main stage. Of course, we don't have a bracket. You know, that doesn't happen until after play-ins. That's not actually drawn out, but we do have the 7 teams that are all awaiting there. LPL got both their seeds through based on winning first stand, and then all of the other regions that are there got their number 1 seed. So BLG as well as Top are the 2 LPL teams that are through. HLE won the LCK, so they are number 1 for there, and then G2 number 1 from EU, LYON number 1 from NA. Team Secret Whales is number 1 from the LCP, and then FURIA is number 1 for CBLOL.
Yeah.
It's a lot of familiar faces.
It certainly is. A lot of return teams here. Let's start with why don't we start with the LPL teams, because they don't have to play, neither of them have to play in play-ins. So we haven't talked about the LPL yet, but BLG and TES. BLG, of course, the winners, and BLG solo lanes are still the story for this team. I feel like they are always such a big story for this team, but when you have Bin and Knight, two of the best to ever play their positions. And
Good story.
The greatest LPL top laner of all time, the greatest LPL mid laner of all time. That's gonna be such a reliable, way to the top of the region. And having Shun back definitely has been cool. Obviously, they won first stand.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird because BLG beat both of the LCK, or excuse me, G2 took care of both of the LCK teams for them, and so we didn't really get that from BLG, and then they pretty confidently just took out G2 to win first stand.
Yeah.
So that could give you a little bit more room for leeway on predictions and stuff coming into MSI, but BLG are the team that could have the golden road because they won first stand obviously and LPL. So they have the possibilities are there for them. I'd say wow, it's pretty uncontested that both Knight and Bin. I mean, I guess you can say Knight is doing even better than Bin, even though Bin was like at first stand, I felt like the best player on the team. Now Knight, like these freaking score lines he's putting up are literal like LeBron versus high schools players, and the LPL format has them playing versus all the other top teams.
Yeah.
So Knight is putting up the craziest numbers versus the other top teams and just having a crazy performance after crazy performance for himself. So he's coming in insane form.
Yeah.
I would say Viper is still making some of the errors that I kind of was nervous about him before when we were leading towards first stand as well, and that hasn't really gone away. I was like, oh, maybe some of these will go away and like he'll get more used to the BLG squad and playing with this team over time, but I feel like those have persisted, and the way that they play more towards top side of the map than bottom side of the map, unless he's like on Caitlyn or something where you have to play to bottom side.
Yeah,
I feel like it's more of this is not peak Viper that we're seeing, so let's play more top side. It's not the reverse where they're like, okay, you're going to be weak side, and that's really a consequence the other way around.
Yeah.
But that being said, he's still Viper, still, and even if he is underperforming to his own standards, is still obviously excellent.
I feel like the Viper hate has kind of gotten pretty overblown. Like I felt like going into first stand, to me at least, he looked a lot worse than he does now. I don't feel like he has been stellar. I think he has had some pretty good incredible moments, but largely,
people are
I
going
think
very extreme.
Exactly.
With the hate,
People are talking like he's like trash. And
yeah,
it's
no,
like,
he's still.
I think he's been fine. Like he hasn't been just like dominating games. He hasn't been stellar. He has been mostly playing weak side. I feel like he fills kind of a similar role in most of the games that Guma does for HLE. I feel like they are kind of playing more that weak side style. It's not like that T1 style where they're playing more heavily through them. Like you said, if they're playing Caitlyn Bard or whatever, they're going to play towards it. But generally speaking, I feel like they are more just kind of like, okay, your late game insurance policy, whatever, like that sort of thing. And I think Viper has been fine. I think he's been solid. I don't think he has been best AD carry in the world by any means, but I think he has been solid. And Knight, like obviously you were already hyping him up, but to me, he is the clear best mid laner in the world right now. And I feel like throughout this split was just like insane. BLG were owning in the regular season. Obviously, playoffs was kind of crazy because they got that first round upset by WE, which was just like, what the hell? But after that, they kind of locked back in and they looked pretty dominant throughout the rest of playoffs. And I feel like Knight is just playing kind of on another level. This guy pretty much does it all. I mean, he can dominate lane. He can bring out counter picks. He can play Annie and find engages and roam the map and give up farm, and like he just kind of feels like the like almost perfect mid laner if you were to kind of draw it out. Like he can play all the different styles, he can do whatever you need. He's mechanically brilliant, his laning is incredible, his team fighting, I feel like he's very rarely making mistakes. I just think this guy is in there for best player in the world right now, period. And definitely to me the best performing mid laner in the world right now. So when you have him playing at that level, and I feel like Shun has actually been quite good, and Shun to me has always been someone who can really support his lanes well, and I feel like like when he's kind of playing his best, he's more that style where he likes to get aggressive. Like he's spamming Pantheon and Jarvan and, you know, being able to find angles and like set up engages. And I feel like when you have Knight and Bin, it is worth playing that style. And to me, they are absolutely one of the tournament favorites. And I just think Knight is playing out of this world.
Yeah, I feel like they are the tournament favorite for me. Number
Really?
one. Yeah, even
Wow.
over HLE.
Interesting. I would not have thought that BLG is favored over like HLE and T1. And what is it about Knight that makes him like that good compared to the LCK? Because I feel like normally when people think of best mids, it's always Chovy, Faker, Zeka. I mean, LCK is, you know, got insane mid laners, but you think Knight's better than all of them?
I think he's playing better right now. I mean, it's like, you know, it's hard to say like, oh, like peak player or whatever, but I just think current form, to me, it is a lot about the versatility. It's about the fact that this guy can bring out all of these different styles of picks. Like he can play a Kali and go absolutely insane, and LeBlanc can play, you know, super lane dominant. He can play Annie and TF and play the map really, really well. I just feel like he's so incredibly flexible and so consistent. I think for a lot of players, people, not that like other mid laners aren't good at, you know, different areas of the game, but a lot of people really fixate on like, oh, like Chovy, like he always gets these massive lane advantages, and Faker, like he's the playmaker and do all that. It feels like Knight is doing both of those right now to me. Like a lot of time it just feels like he is excelling at every aspect of the game. And when I'm evaluating a player and I'm like, okay, so you win lane every time in every matchup. All right, you're always finding the game winning play. Okay, you're pretty much never like the reason you lost. You're not really getting picked off. You're like, if you get ahead, you just like auto win the game and snowball it. If you get behind, you like find good plays to make the game competitive or maybe come back. It just, to me, just feels like he's excelling at all aspects of the game. Like all ways that you would want to evaluate a player, I feel like he's just kind of really excelling in.
Yeah, I think it is a good point to bring up though, Medios, because that's what I've seen from a decent amount of fans too. They'll bring up, okay, I'll give you that Knight is going insane right now, but they always bring up, who are you playing against? And LCK, the roster of full mid laners for LCK is undoubtedly goated and
T1
you know, best
always
in the
wins
world.
versus LPL. It feels like well, that's more of a world thing, I guess.
Yeah, the aspect of where you're like, well, he does literally everything. I guess the one thing that then people can bring up too is in, like you're saying, for worlds, a lot of the times the super clutch moments. As far as like shot calling or you know, making whatever super hype like championship international winning play. Maybe that's the angle. But I definitely.
But just off current form, what my eyeballs witnessed throughout the regular season and playoffs was not normal.
I always feel really excited when we head in doing this, even like if it does end up getting you know, if they end up losing or something, or end up getting beat in some you know, crazy way, then it's always super cool. So the top teams are looking very scary. And the best thing to me is that all of them play quick and aggressive. So as we get into, you know, top esports and HLE and stuff, we already talked about T1, but I feel like all of them, these are just going to be such banger games between all the top teams here at the tournament.
Yeah, it should be really, really fun. Yeah, I mean, BLG definitely one of the tournament favorites. To me, it's like you said you have them favorite. I'm maybe more on the HLE side, but like I think both these teams to me are the clear, like they are the S tier teams that you're expecting. Yeah. And I would put T1 up there just because, let's be honest, it's T1, right? And they were very competitive with the top teams in the LCK as well. So I think they kind of like have to be on that tier. I do think after that there is a step down, especially based on like expectations. If you want to talk about top, right? Like there's a stink on top, and it's hard to get it off, right? Like until you are doing really well internationally. It is really, really hard. You know, obviously, before we touched on, Casey had that good first stand. Well, part of that was top, not having a good event. Top lost to like everyone except TL, I think, in that event, if I recall correctly, right? And so they definitely did not have a good event. They have had that happen a number of times. That being said, again, like you have to kind of go into it talking about like what you actually saw from the team during the season, right? And I will say, Top was looking, I think quite good. I feel like Tien to me is in really, really good form. And it is cool to see these new guys coming in like Feng Yue and Zuyan, I believe, is how you say it. I was talking to Alk, and then he sent me like a voice clip because he had talked to the Chinese translators, and this is what I was told. We might get new info and have to change how we say it, but I believe it is Zuyan. But like he came in 4.369, which is like those are some pretty damn big shoes to fill, and I feel like he has performed really, really admirably. I think Cream is quite an explosive mid laner. I feel like he is playing well, but Tien to me in a lot of the series that I'm watching, a lot of the games that I'm watching, is just like it feels like he is back in really, really good form, and he is being able to dictate the pace of so many of these games.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Jackie's in really good form too. When you're talking about, the returning to this team, Jackie did have dealing with injuries and stuff.
Yeah,
and I thought it was quite big having him return, and he's been performing super well. Of course, I had a big magnifying glass on Jueyan.
I think it's like Zuyan basically.
Zuyan. Okay.
That's
because
my
I heard
understanding.
when I was watching all of the games, the LPL casters,
But they say a lot of different ways.
multiple of them, did say it different ways.
This is what I've gotten from Alf, from a translator.
Yeah,
So
we'll have to get our Chinese
see.
pronunciations nailed down so that everyone's saying it the same.
And let's be honest with some of the names, we just say an anglicized version of it, right?
Yeah.
Like Xiaohu, that's not how you say it, but that's how everyone in English says it. Because I remember talking to like Candace and Teddy and some of the people working the LPL broadcast before. I'm like, how do you really say it? And it's like Xiaohu or something, and I'm just like, I cannot say that properly, like fast in a cast, And so we just say the anglicized version, and
True.
we just have to be on the same page.
Yeah, exactly. That's the key. If we all stay the same,
Keep strong together.
No one will know.
I mean, if we can even get there, because it's still difficult. Anyways, obviously, it's gonna have a big magnifying.
Big Z in the top lane.
Yeah, Big Z.
Z.
Honestly, though, I actually love this guy. I thought this guy was so good because I came in with lower expectations. Because he only he played a few games. He did play some games with IG, but then he got subbed out and then traded over to Top Esports and on their tier 2 team, and then getting promoted up. I thought this guy was so good for being such a young player.
Yeah.
He was playing all kinds of styles. Thought his team fighting was excellent, even in some of the lane phases where he got that counter pick by Vayne, and so he died early to an Olaf counter pick. He still had such good team fighting. He still didn't hemorrhage more in a lane after sometimes when he would be behind in a lane. So judging from a lens of I didn't have any super high expectations or anything, and obviously everybody is going to be like, well, what if we had 369 still and he didn't walk away? Then you could have you have really big shoes to fill, and you could.
Did he retire? Because I'm not familiar with the roster change.
Yeah, he walked away. I don't know all the details of Chinese social media or everything that happened, but it was the gist that I got from the explanation that I got was that it was his own decision.
I see. Okay.
I think he's officially still listed as a substitute, but he hasn't been playing. So I'm not honestly super familiar with all the details of how that happened either.
Yeah.
But fully agreed. It's you are coming in for one of the best top laners in LPL history, like a guy who is absolutely legendary, and he is performing super, super well with barely any tier 1 experience, right? Because like you said, he had been playing on TES challengers. He played on I think IG Young before that, and then IG a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was what has he played? I think it was 12 games or something. I can't remember. But he hadn't played a lot in tier 1 at all.
Yeah, exactly. I hope that, because I know they have weird rules where they cut off how many tier 1 games you played.
I heard he doesn't count as a rookie.
No,
that's what I heard officially.
Yeah,
but I'm not actually sure.
It always sucks when they have just enough tier 1 games, but it was only one split and all that type of stuff. But regardless, he is. I feel
rookie adjacent.
Yeah, he's rookie adjacent, and he's just really good in so many different facets of the game. His Jace was looking clean in a lot of these ones, and even when he's getting counterpicked by York and stuff, or like I say, even if he does end up dying here or there in some lanes or some matchups, I always felt like he never tilted or never the lane. Some things didn't snowball against him very frequently, and then he could still have a big impact on a lot of his team fights. And then I really did like his team fighting with Cyan, especially versus WE and the JDG game as well.
Yeah.
And then he too was good also with counter picks, like hit him with the Olaf and stuff too. So I was just like, oh man, this guy is coming in at such a high level that it was very impressive. And so I do like this look for top esports. I know lots of people always look at the international failures to meet expectations for this team,
and it's impossible not to when there's that many in a row, right?
But I'm coming back in with like, okay, they look good. And again, like you said, they're not up there with the tier 1 tournament favorites. I'd say it's definitely arguable if you have all 4 LPL and LCK teams as like your tier 1.
And I know some people are even saying G2 should be up there because of first stand, right? Because they beat the LCK teams and stuff. So it's kind of based on your evaluations too.
But I do think like they're a little step below the other premier tournament favorites.
I think they're a tier below for sure.
But still very, very good, and
they could win the tournament. If they play their best, it's definitely possible.
Definitely possible. And I think it is cool because especially for like Tien and Jackie, these guys are getting up there and still coming back and performing well.
Yep, absolutely. I honestly kind of hope that they do well because I don't know. It's kind of like the Cloud9 thing where at a certain point you're just like, I don't know. It just feels bad.
Go to these stupid narratives of people always.
Yeah, exactly. It just feels bad when people are always just like, because especially LPL, like compared to LCK, I think a lot of English viewers watch a lot more LCK, right? A lot of the bigger co-streamers focus more on that. Obviously, Dom was kind of like one of the big guys that was following LPL, and now he's doing most of coaching. So there's less people following the LPL. So I feel like sometimes people act as though top was never good and like shouldn't have ever been in those conversations and stuff. You know what I mean? And I've always just feel like that's kind of unfair. And so I hope that they can, whether or not they win, I hope that they can be competitive and kind of like have a good accounting of themselves, right? Just like put in some good games.
And they're another one of these teams, like even the playoff series where like they're 3-0ing LGD and going through 3-1ing JDG and stuff. Even a lot of the games that they won, they also had some early deficits. Things did not always go perfectly for them. They're not a like completely snowball you team, even though until they met up with BLG, they only did lose the single game. A lot of the actual wins that they got, they had to come back through team fights. And the thing that we're saying about a lot of the games look fairly similar, and a lot of the teams that are very good at team fighting and setting up for like third dragon, especially third and fourth dragons, are really critical. That's where a lot of games are won and lost, despite which team comes in with a few thousand gold lead over the first 2 dragons. It's such a big turning point in so many games right now with the way that the game is constructed with objectives. And in a lot of their wins, they had to do that as well, because like either Tien had gone for some invade and gotten punished, or one of the lanes had died early or something. And so I thought that was quite impressive from them too. They didn't fold in a lot of those situations.
Time to talk about another one of the tournament favorites, HLE. They are getting a ton of hype, obviously. It's kind of a funny story because there were so many memes about HLE because of the split 1 format where they like finished 10th, right? But it was such a fraudulent format. LCK is the best league in the world, but they have the worst formats of all time, like consistently horrible formats. It is actually crazy to me, some of the formats. This one was so funny, where it was just like, a number of technicalities, but essentially because of them going 2 and 3, like their group was super, super close in Group Elder. They went 2-3. Then it was like, my understanding was it was essentially like random who they played in their 1 best of 5, and then they played Gen G and lost 2-3, I think, to Gen G as well, if I recall. and then that just like knocked them out, and their game differential was like worse because of it, so they got 10.
Yeah. And it mattered like how many points the group that you're in, like the other team scored, and their group had like scored low on points too. So it was I mean, that was for sure like
that sounds like a 10th place team to me. I don't know.
But it was so funny because people are always talking, 10th place, right? And like there are so many memes about it that I feel like it was kind of out of control.
I mean, they were worse that split than this split, but not that much. So yeah, definitely.
Isn't that crazy? Did they play Genji? I thought they did, right? They then played. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It was back in last split, but I thought that they then had to play Genji, and then that's what like actually cooked them. But Anyway, I mean, they are the first place qualifier, whatever you want to call it, because there's not a true winner in this format, which is, I know, another thing that people kind of criticize. But like I said, it's like, I think there's a lot of bad LCK formats. I don't think this one's any worse than a lot of the old ones. To me, this is very similar to the old Gauntlet style, where you'd have, your top team would just be waiting in the finals, and then there would be the Gauntlet, and then the team would come up, and then that top team would win one series, and then they were the champions, right? That's like essentially what this was. But like regardless of what you want to call it, they are the first place qualifier from the road to MSI that the LCK had, and I think that they're deserving. I feel like they're playing really, really well. If you haven't been following HLE at all, they now have 2/5 of like probably the most beloved roster of all time potentially. The T1 roster. They now have both Zeus and Guma on their team, which is really, really cool for a lot of T1 fans and a lot of global fans who are really loving those players. And they're playing with Kanavi and Zeka and Delight. And Kanavi, I feel like, has been so stellar for them. I think that, partly their struggles were around like getting on the same page with Kanavi. I know a lot of people were criticizing him in LCK Cup or Split 1 or whatever you want to call it. I felt like for being like over aggressive and doing too much. And I feel like a lot of times it was just like they weren't on the same page. And sometimes you can look really, really bad if you're playing aggressive and you're playing engaged style and your team is not on the same page with you. It's just going to look horrible. And I feel like they have gotten way more on the same page. You touched on it earlier, like how fast this team can play. They are hyper aggressive. They love to snap engage. They do love playing way more towards the top side for the most part. I feel like Guma and Delight are kind of on weak side duty. And Zeka and Zeus, I think, are playing pretty stellar.
Yeah, Guma is the weak side king, as they say, and he really is quite good at it. And so now that they are really kind of locked in together, and I think a key is Delight. Moving with Kanavi a lot and getting out there, and him liking that style too, and with more supports. More good buffs and stuff for engaged supports and tank supports. I think it's only going to get better for this team because like Delight is good on the range supports and enchanters too, but he's really, really good on like the Blitzcrank and the engaged supports. So definitely a cool direction for them to go. Kanavi is a jungler's jungler, is how I see him, because he likes to totally beat up the enemy jungler and use like lanes to go look for invades. And it's not like he doesn't play for lanes. Also, he does play for lanes and plays for team win cons. But I feel like if there is an opportunity to like get the other jungler to be really weak and like embarrass the other jungler, he'll take it. And
good way to play.
And that's why I love watching that style. I think he is quite good at it. And they are looking very confident. And this team, I love the aggressive look from them and the quick way that they play. Also, Zeka, I feel like it's just getting better and better for him too. He has been able to play really well on Aurora and a lot of these other, and has added a bunch of the control mages, because before it was always like, oh yeah,
Mr.
obviously,
Melee.
He's the world champion of Sylas Akali meta. Yes,
yeah.
He is the GOAT. Did go Super Saiyan there. And of course, Yone and the Ari have always, really been in his wheelhouse too. But now also like the Rise and the Aurora and the Oriana Victors and stuff too. So I feel like this team is much more complete now and looking terrifying.
Yeah, I think they're looking really, really good. They feel very cohesive now. Zayas to me is just so good right now. Like, I'm always a pretty big Keen fanboy. Like, I kind of still feel like Keen is the best top laner in the
But
world.
Zayas has more flair.
He does have more flair, and I feel like he is like right up there, going toe to toe. And I feel like Ben obviously at his best is right up there, and battling for best in the world, if not best in the world when he's playing his best. But Zayas I think has been absolutely stellar. He's been playing all kinds of different stuff in top lane, which is pretty scary. This is a player who can be extremely lane dominant. He loves like a lot of the different kind of like common counter picks. He's playing a ton of Jace, but he's playing a ton of Yorick into Rumble and Jace, and those style of matchups. He can play the tanks really well, like Sion. He can bring out the Vayne, the Anivia, the Jax. Like he can bring out all kinds of stuff. So I feel like he's super flexible, super dominant, and Zeka, like you said, has become way more well-rounded and is just so much more on the same page now than they were in the LCK Cup with Kanavi. And Delight, I feel like Delight has been, really good on the enchanters. So there's nothing wrong with his enchanter play, but I always think this guy is crazy when it comes to the engaged supports. And so with that, maybe being more and more back into the meta, I always feel like he can get a buff. And some of these like really kind of aggressive engaged players really can kind of get that additional edge. So I feel like it could kind of work in their favor.
All right, Meteos is not feeling well, so we're going to continue on without him. Up next is G2 Esports. Ooh, I hope that LYON gets to play them and gets to beat them. We have very good chances of getting to play them. They are looking quite good now.
Yep.
So I'm not going to say, I don't think that we are actually favored against them, but you always want that matchup and you always want to try and play them, especially because Inspired versus Skumond right now is like head to head for who is really the best jungler in the West. Skumond is in insane form right now, so I would default to Skumond right now since Inspired did not even win best, first team All Pro jungle in North America.
But if you look at the playoffs, he's still that guy.
Yeah, he definitely still is. But I would give it to Skumond right now until we see them play against each other. And then we can take it back. Then we can confidently take it back. Because Skumond is insane. He pulled off the Griffin strat and he stole Griffin's Nasus. Credit where credit is due, Big G. But Skumond made European Nasus look just like Big G Nasus.
It was a good imitation.
He did make a carry with it as well as playing, everything else that is meta and that is good. And so, Skumond right now is looking crazy OP on a team that, of course, you always are looking at caps as well, especially for internationals. But I feel like Skumond has been more consistent. And so I would probably say he is really main focus on this team right now. I know that they made an effort to make him be the captain as well, which is pretty cool. Obviously, you're always extremely fearful of Caps and what he does.
Caps International. The team is Caps. Like the team is always going to be Caps to me, no matter who is on there. As long as that guy is there, he's won like 300 championships in LEC. He is to me the focal point. It always will be when they go international. Just because I feel like if G2 are to make the splash that people hope, like they did at First Stand, and to go toe to toe with the HLEs and the BLGs, I feel like there's no world in which it happens that Caps isn't popping off, and he has done that so many times, over the years for G2, and he always seems to step up in the clutch moments. I agree that like average level performance, Skumond has been their best for sure, but to me, when it goes to international, I just like always feel like it's just about Caps and like how well this guy's going to perform because he's so ridiculously clutch. He's always good in the big moments, and it's just they're a really fun team to watch right now. I'm not going to lie. I mean, Broken Blade, he gets a lot of flack. I feel like it's kind of overblown. I do think that Kana and Knock and have performed better than him. in the LEC recently, you know, and especially like if you're talking about laning maybe. But I also just love that he is so confident on a lot of these counter picks. I love how he's bringing out the Yasuo and feeling really comfortable to bring out that in specific matchups. He's feeling really comfortable to bring out his Kled into Sion. You know, he has the Vayne, he has the Shen, he has the Ione. Like he brought out Cassio. He's bringing out like all kinds of different stuff, right? And I think he is just really fun to watch as a result. And I got to give Hans credit. I feel like I was scarred by Hans's TL, you know, tenure. He didn't do that well on TL, but I feel like he's been playing really, really well in Europe right now. And to me, I think he's the best AD carry in Europe pretty significantly. I think Kalista actually got first team All-Pro, if I recall. I'm not 100% sure, but to me, Hans definitely is the best AD carry in Europe right now.
And Lebrov is playing really well outside of lane as well. I feel like him plus Skumond has only gotten better. I don't know, you know, which one is completely leading the duo, but both of them together has been really in sync and created a lot of these plays where G2 I feel like have such good setup because they have really good information from the prior move from Leblov moving with Skumond and then having a good engage. I will say, yeah, you know, as much as probably Broken Blade does get too much flack, I still think of him as the like soft point on the team that you know, could be something that you know, people attack or that is kind of a weakness and causes games to become a little bit more difficult to play for this team. You know, especially like maybe lane phase, you know, a team's able to get too much priority there, and then it turns into something difficult with side lanes or something like that.
People always talk about like FURIA, like when they played against FURIA at last MSI, right, where he got absolutely clapped in top lane and like the Warwick Aatrox counter pick, and people obviously do talk about those. I agree, you know, he has his bad moments, but
yeah. But yeah, it is G2 coming back in internationals, and they did make the finals of First Stand, and they deserve the
beat Gen G
for taking out both LCK representatives 3-0. So I feel like they are on a tear, and there's so much momentum behind them. People are super excited to see what they can accomplish, me included. So that's what I really want to see because Caps already has his guaranteed legacy and story, and I feel like Skumond right now is kind of writing his. Some of the best chapters are coming here for Skumond's story. So super excited to see what G2 can do, and yeah, hope that we do get a matchup with them versus LYON.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think it would be really, really exciting. G2, obviously, based on their first stand results and how well they're playing in the LEC. I know some people have them up on the like HLE BLG tier, and I've seen some tier lists with them like above T1 and stuff, which I just always feels hard to me. You know, when you know, yes, current form G2 is really good, and yes, they did do really well at first stand, but I just always find it so hard to bet against T1 when it comes to international, you know, in these big moments. I think G2 definitely has the capability, though, when they're playing at their best, to swing with the top teams here, and it would be, you know, really exciting for Europe. Obviously, you know, people you know, were riding high off the G2 MSI win for a long time, right? And they want to get back to that level. And I know for a lot of G2 fans, they feel like, you know, this is an opportunity where they could actually win the tournament. And I think that they are, you know, underdogs compared to those top teams, but I definitely think they're within striking distance. And I think they should be favored against everyone minus like BLG, HLE, and maybe T1, right? You know, to me, they are like, I would say, I would put them above top. As probably the fourth team, and kind of if I was doing my power rankings, but definitely can punch up, and so I think they're going to be an exciting team. But I also am feeling really good about LYON, and I feel like LYON has gotten a lot better. And like you, I'm really excited for that potential matchup because I feel like there is so much to be excited about from the NA perspective for LYON. Like Saint has gotten so much more consistent. Inspired has always been good for us international. I feel like Berserker and Isles are really consistent bot lane. Doka feels like you know, a player who rises in the big moments, and so I think that is a matchup that, you know, NA and EU fans definitely want. I feel like EU will think it is like a failure of an event if they lose to anyone for, like, you know, of LYON or TSW or FURIA.
If they lose to us, they're for sure going to think it's a failure of an event like that. that is gonna be real. That one's gonna really sting.
Yeah, but I think it could definitely happen.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely. I kind of like it like this, where we're like, oh, okay, yeah, you know, they're totally favored, and they are favored, but
we're gonna win
if we
anyway.
if we beat them, it makes it so sweet. If we and they definitely like. It's not like they're so out of reach. You know,
I don't feel like
doesn't
that at
feel
all.
like conquering like HLE or BLG or something.
Yeah.
But I am so Isles. I love Isles, and I've been like super championing him ever since lock-in playoffs.
You're worried about engage meta?
I'm just worried not about engage meta in particular in itself, because he's been quite, you know, good on the engages as well. But it's when I imagine things like, you know, I'm watching these games with On and Carrier on Camille. I'm like, ooh, can you really envision? I mean, until you see it, you can't envision it. But like Isles on the Camille, I don't know. He did have his Poppy game where he was roaming around and he was the primary one making all these, you know, plays, which really started finally people giving a lot of recognition to Isles's improvements. But it's definitely a bit nervous if support champion pool gets super crazy. I do like that Isles already, you know, had pulled out way previously his Lux and had talked about being such a Lux main previously, because like if you can do a Caitlyn Lux or something like that, you know, having those flavor picks is definitely there. And his Poppy especially was incredibly good. So that might be able to be an answer for, you know, blocking some of the other crazy good engaged players. But Isles has been exceptional, I feel like, especially on the enchanters. So yeah, we'll see if you know, how he can do it. Like if it's a Camille Jax matchup, you're you're definitely getting a little bit nervous there. I mean, I don't think that support role is going to get that crazy.
Yeah.
For like everybody outside of, you know, Carrier and On and stuff. But
and even
it could be
even them like. Camille and Mel, like Mel and stuff, is very different in LPL LCK than it is in the West. You know, they just have way higher priority on Mel, and they're playing mostly.
I mean, the Camille Ziggs lanes looked.
Yeah,
I thought
that's what I was gonna say.
better.
Camille Mel and Camille Ziggs, but I feel like it's very situational. Like people are mostly doing it against like Corky lanes and Karma Ezreal and stuff, right? Like there's a couple that they do where they're looking for this. You know, it's level 6 all in with whether it is, you know, hookshot into ultimatum and then undodgeable Ziggs all, or the Mel combo. But I feel like it's like I'm not that worried about it. Maybe I'm underestimating the Camille because I feel like it's only going to be picked in very specific circumstances, and you would kind of presumably know that it is coming in those circumstances if you're picking into it, because it has, at least so far, has not gotten to a point where it's just like, oh, they're just like slamming it as like a generic engage thing. It's really like,
but since drafting is now fearless, like I feel like you know, having one of those games like that, even if it is a niche and counterpick thing, is what can,
it's scary.
Like, swing matches, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you have to have it's very interesting whenever we go to internationals, because the meta develops as we get deeper and deeper into the international. And so, yeah, it like they can come down to, okay, yeah, you've been great on like the Lulu and Nico and all these like regular things.
It's when you think about like FlyQuest in those big game 5s, right? And Fearless, that kind of boomed us multiple times in big game 5s. And you think about, you know, quads picks in game 5 versus Genji, and also versus the LPL. It was tough. The Zillion and
versus BLG.
The Zillion. Yeah, that was tough. So yeah, I mean, I agree. It's scary, but also when you're like, I don't know if he can play Camille like Carrier, I'm like, you can kind of say that about every champion in Carrier, and that's true of pretty much every support in the world, right? So yeah, we'll see if it does become a problem for LYON, but I do think they have, for the most part, some very flexible players. So I'm pretty excited for LYON. Secret Whales were super dominant in their region. They did basically like the perfect season run, and I feel like this team definitely could do some damage. I don't know if I view them on CFO tier when CFO was at their best. I still feel like they are kind of like a level below that. So I think, you know, they should be in the mix for sure. They should be scary for sure, but I don't see them at the same level as when we saw CFO really popping off. I don't know if you kind of have a similar read.
Well, to me, I'm definitely not a Secret Wales hater, but I cannot trust Dire. To me, I'm just most worried about mid lane again, because after last year's Worlds, I was like, okay, yeah, fine. Like you're going to Worlds, you're playing against super high caliber, mid laners and stuff. It's a shock always, and we've been there too. NA teams for years and years and years. We're like, how do we do anything about mid lane when we go international? And it feels really hard to play from there. But when you're watching Secret Wales games in LCP, mid lane is Dire is so successful for them, and their mid jungle is so much of their game plan. Moving around the map and playing super aggressively. But then again, and people were telling me, okay, it'll be better this time. Like they had coaching staff change and blah blah for first stand. But then at first stand, also I felt like he was a really big issue. His lane phase was pretty
super
tough
gap when they played against Caps.
So I like this team a lot. I want to be confident in this team, but I cannot trust Dire like lane phase until I like see it actually, him overcome it on international stage. So to me, that's a lot that like it's kind of a blocker right now for me for this team. Yeah. Because it's been a couple in a row for internationals for him, but like his toe, I'm all aboard. Like his toe doesn't like flinch at all on the international stage. He's still like he is the guy here for Secret Wales. And he is another one of these aggressive junglers and playmaking junglers I love watching. So I'm a big fan of him. Plus, since we were talking about weird support picks, it's not just Camille supports. Skarner support. How do you like that? Yeah. Because BA is like, oh, this team, like they're all constantly starting fights and looking for all these, points where they can have like crazy team fight combos and stuff. And he's like, wow, Skarner would be a great combo for us. And then he just keeps on pulling out Skarner in like playoff matches and stuff too. And I'm like, hell yeah. So this
Pun was playing crazy stuff too, like Olaf top, and he played Urgot and Cho'Gath and Set, and like he's played all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I mean top lane, you're like, okay, top lane does counter picks a lot, but yeah, now we're getting like all these weird support champs. That's where my mind is like, it's not Camille and Jax and Skarner, and we'll see how crazy this.
What can Camille do into the Skarner support?
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to see. Probably some true damage. Probably like set up some ganks on
drive him out of the ult.
Yeah, probably hit him. Like Camille E is so freaking busted, so OP. Like
Kobe is scarred from this show match that we had like 8 years ago, where he was playing Warwick and he tried to ult on a Warwick and he got turtle and he got Camille hookshot and interrupted the ult, and Kobe has not stopped talking about Camille hookshot for like 8 years after this one interaction.
It was wild turtle on support Camille. So that I have that trauma. Some people have trauma with specific champion roles. To me, is support
show
Camille.
Match trauma.
Yeah, support Camille. Wild turtle is the one that did it to me years and years ago. I do carry that trauma. Yeah. But yeah, this team is super fun.
They're fun.
Super fun to watch because again, like it's their jungle mid is like the crux of it, but the entire team is big on a lot of these like combo plays that they pull off. Looks so cool when they do them.
Yeah, and I think Eddie has been really solid. I think that he is actually quite good. When we talked about Deep Cross, they're like, they're the crazy team, the solo queue guys, though, whatever. This is a team that actually can play the map well. I feel like they macro well. I feel like this is actually just a strong team, and they definitely do have to be respected. I think they can, go like punch for punch with a lot of the other teams here. You're not expecting them to beat like your BLGs and your HLEs, but I think that LYON should be scared, like G2 should be scared, FURIA should be scared. I think that they are a team that definitely could take people down. Even if they're not like going to be winning the tournament, they could ruin someone else's tournament. You know what I mean? Like this is a team that definitely needs to be respected. I think they are a really strong team, and I think they're in the mix with the LEC, with the LCS teams, and definitely have to be
No,
respected.
we
as such.
easily can lose to this. Like,
Easily,
this,
yeah. They're a good team. It's
Yeah.
not like some joke team and haha we played bad. Like they're good. They
Nope.
could beat us for sure. Another team that I think is really scary, actually really good, is FURIA. I think FURIA is a team that a lot of people are going to be like, oh, Brazil, haha. But CBLOL has been getting way better.
NA fans won't do that because FURIA beat our asses
Yeah.
at America's Cup.
Yeah, it's a for fun tournament. You know,
Like, oh, what's up, FURIA?
jet lag, didn't care, no real stakes. But yeah, I mean, we want some revenge definitely against FURIA, but I feel like FURIA has gotten even better. Obviously, it's funny because they didn't qualify for first stand, and CBLOL didn't do that well at first stand. But even a lot of the CBLOL fans are like, FURIA is our real number one seed, even though like in split one weren't they like third or something like that? They weren't even the number two seed in America's Cup if I recall. But they definitely performed really well. Tatu to me has gone from being like, oh, conversation for one of the best junglers to like, I just think he's the best player in their whole league period. And I think he has been stellar. He was stellar in America's Cup. He's a player that I feel like because his lanes have gotten more consistent and better, it feels like they can actually make early game plans and execute on them, and they've become so much more dangerous as a result because I think their lanes have gotten more stable, which allows him to really like execute on the plans that he wants, which means he's pulling off some like really good invades. He's setting up for invades really well, and being able to play off the pressure that his lanes create really really well, which is something that I think is actually really cool and feels like an evolution in this team. So I feel like they are definitely a scary team. It's hard because it's like MSI is just so many good teams, right? So it's like, yeah, could they go and get 8th or whatever? Yeah, they could, but like this is a good team, and this is a team that I feel like people should be scared of. And I also think if you are thinking about Gigo as like the guy from MSI last year who's like all these crazy picks and like is going to slam you in lane, I don't think he's that guy now. He's like Mr. Tank basically. And that's kind of like how they got that stability is like Gigo is weak-sided, perma, and he is mostly just spamming tanks. He does play like Ambessa.
Yeah. The Ambessa and Renekton are like the most common, most standard bruisers in with it. So,
but
while
only
it's not
one
all
Renekton
tanks,
game.
it's very predictable. His tempo is very predictable now.
He only played one Renekton game, and he has 6 Scions, 6 Cassante, 4 Ornn, right? Like he is playing very meta, and he's playing weak side, and that is by design. It's not because he can't play the other stuff, but I think that has allowed Tatu to focus more on playing with Toots and JoJo, and like IU's playing really well. So I feel like it has just given them a more clear game plan and more kind of stability for Tatu to do what he wants to do. And this guy, I think, is legitimately just a beast. Like he's one of the best junglers, outside of LPL, LCK. It's not just for his region. He is just really, really, really good.
Yeah, the biggest change for me is just how they've played and how it feels like they told Gigo to calm down a bit and makes it so. Yes, they're more predictable, but also it's a lot easier to focus. And this is, I think, a better way to play the game, to play for mid jungle and for jungle bottom lane. So I think they're in really good form right now.
Yeah.
And I mean, we definitely could lose to anybody. So
it's all good teams.
It's always going to be really tough for us, every single matchup. But I am pretty hopeful for LYON. I always get like internationals. I feel like it's been quite a long time since I went into an international and I was like, we're screwed. I feel like that was like 7 years ago or something. We had a long streak of those where I was just like, we're gonna get pummeled. But I feel very confident. I feel very confidently that we can compete, and especially with the last several years, we have really shown that. So.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we had a really good streak of, being able to beat Europe a bunch of times in a row and being able to show some really good series, some exciting series against LPL LCK. Yeah. So
I think LYON's got us.
I think LYON has got us. I think it's going to be a fun tournament. It is going to be a really hard tournament. Hopefully we can get some revenge on FURIA or G2 if we get to play one of those rosters. But it is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to beat them all. We're going to win.
BLG, TES, HLE.
Easy.
T1.
Yeah, all of them.
Well, we can't beat T1 with LYON because
TL will
have already taken care of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, of course. Well, that is going to do it for this episode of The Dive, driven by Kia. I'm heading out to MSI tonight. Kobe's going tomorrow. I'll see you there, buddy. And we'll see you guys online. Be sure to subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube so you don't miss an episode of Dive. Also, leave a comment. We're going to be doing some dive stuff throughout MSI.
We do dive things,
we'll be doing some dive things.
Figure it out.
We won't have an episode next Thursday, but we'll be back with an episode the week after, coming straight from Korea. And as a reminder, TL is going to be playing T1, first game of MSI Play-In Knockouts. It is best of 5, Saturday, June 27th. It is at 8 p.m. Pacific. So pretty reasonable time here for those of us over in North America.
No excuses.
Get in here.
Better
watch. We'll see you there.